Welcome back from your break, everybody. So it's time for us to look at our application questions. Now remember, application questions are questions that is normally stated with help from a scenario or a case study or an illustration. So let's take a look at our questions for this lesson. Firstly, they ask, read the following scenario and answer the question. So this scenario is about Sarah's Bakery, and Sarah's Bakery produces freshly baked pastries. Sarah employed 5 employees to help her. She bought a small building where she does all her baking and packaging. She had to take out a loan from Fast Bank, and she uses to cover the cost of setting up a business. And then she uses an online ordering system to make ordering easier for her customers. Now the question asks, identify the organizational resources. Now always make sure what they are asking, because we get a lot of different aspects that sound the same. We have organizational resources, organizational structure, and organizational culture. So just always make doubly sure which one they want you to identify. Now in this case, it's the resources. So they say identify the organizational resources used by Sarah in the scenario. And then the question continues, motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So let's take a look at how we are going to answer this question. So there is 4 organizational resources: physical, human, financial, and technological. So when we look at the scenario of Sarah's Bakery, we see that Sarah employed 5 employees to help her. And this is then, of course, our human resources. Okay, so we will state it that the resource is the human resource, and then our motivation will be the quote. So we will quote the whole sentence that says, Sarah employed 5 employees to help her. Okay, then the scenario continues in the second paragraph. She says, or the scenario states that Sarah had to take out a loan from Fast Bank to cover the cost of setting up her business. So that loan is money or capital we need for our business. So this will then be financial resources. All right, so we will state then that it is a financial resource, and we will motivate, of course, by quoting that whole sentence. Sarah had to take out a loan from Fast Bank to cover the cost of setting up her business. Then we need one more resource, and when we look at the last sentence, the scenario states that she uses an online ordering system to make ordering easier for her customer. Now that little word online says that it's on websites, and therefore it's technological resources. All right, so then the technological resources will be motivated by quoting that entire sentence at the end of a scenario. She uses an online ordering system to make ordering easier for her customers. So there we have answered the first question. Remember, quoting means exactly as it is from the scenario, word for word, and as far as possible, the whole sentence. Let's go on to our second question. Identify, now let's again look, organizational structure. Now we have to identify the structure that will be best suited for the following scenarios. A, John wants to change his business structure by dividing the business functions into different departments. So that little word functions is our clue, and this will then be the functional organizational structure. So we will answer by stating also the organizational structure. So we will not only write functional, we will write functional organizational structure, just to be safe. Then the second question says, Shanti wants to use members of each department to work on the launch of their new product range. So Shanti wants to use members from the different departments to work on a specific project. So remember, the difference between the project organizational structure and the matrix organizational structure is the project structure, the team will be taken out of their departments. With the matrix structure, they will remain in their departments. So this is then obviously the project organizational structure. There we go. Again, we will not only write project, we will write project organizational structure. Our third question for today then is read the following scenario and answer the question that follow. Johnson and Family Dealers, or JFD. Don Johnson owns a dealership and employs family members as well as members of the community. He wants to establish a business with strong norms and beliefs. He believes that all employees must dress in formal business wear. He also believes that all customers must be addressed as Sir and Madam. In question A, they ask, identify the two aspects that addresses JFD's organizational culture. And how are we going to do that? We are going to do that by quoting from the scenario. So what this person wants, he only wants the two quotes that addresses the organizational culture. Now, when we look at the scenario, we see that the first part is only an introduction. Then from here on, he states that Johnson believes that all employees must dress in formal business wear. That directly speaks to the dress code he wants to have in the business. And that will be our first quote in our answer. He believes that all employees must dress in formal business wear. Our last sentence then states that he also believes that all customers must be addressed as Sir and Madam. So that's the conduct he wants in his business, and therefore that will be our second quote that concerns our organizational culture. And this is all you have to do. You only have to state or quote the two sentences, and that is the answer we are going to give. Then our last question for today will be a follow-up question where we ask, discuss the purpose of organizational culture. So let's just check that always. So the purpose states that, why do we need it? And this is our answer we will give. The purpose is to define the business's identity and core values. Our employees will then be ambassadors for our business, or if you don't want to use the word ambassadors, you can say they represent our business, and that will help us to retain or keep our employees and our clients. So remember, always try and answer in full sentences as far as possible. That is it for our application questions in this lesson. Let's take a little ad break.